let's move on over to arthritis, Doc. Did you have anything more on high blood pressure?
No, but I'm seeing a lot of psoriasis right now, and I think personally it's mostly a liver issue. Is that not correct?
Yes, yes. You and I both know that when you got a problem with the skin, you got a problem with the liver.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
do you have specific formula for psoriasis?
For psoriasis, yeah, yeah. Let's go take a look at psoriasis here. Going back over here to herbalhealthreview.com and going to that common conditions and going down A, B, C, D on my way here. I'm cruising. Da-da. Feel like Paul Revere. Here we go. Psoriasis. So there's a psoriasis report where it's talking about psoriasis. And psoriasis appears as patches of skin on the legs, the knees, the arms, elbows, scalp, ears, and the back that are red to brown in color and covered with a silvery white scales. Now, uh, toes and fingernails can lose their luster and develop ridges and pits, often heredity, you know, and heredity or this condition is linked to heredity, and it has a rapid growth of cells in the skin's outer layer. So this rapid growth of skin in the outer layer, and these growths on the epidermis never mature, whereas a normal skin cell matures and passes from the bottom layer of the skin to the epidermis in about 28 days. Psoriatic cells form in about 8 days. It's out of cycle and causing this, and because it's forming so quickly, it's causing these scaly patches that spread to cover larger and larger areas. The result of this disorder is the production of excessive numbers of skin cells in a very short time. The condition is not contagious. Psoriasis generally follows a pattern of periodic flare-ups, alternating with periods of remission, most commonly beginning between the ages of 15 and 25. And among other things, it attacks, these attacks can be triggered by nervous tension, stress, illness, injury, surgery, cuts, poison ivy, viral or bacterial infection. So that means we need to make sure that we're dealing with their nervous system. Got to make sure they're on a good diet and they're cooled down, with lots of B complex and things like Intramax, multiple vitamin, and Intra-Kid if they're a kid, and stress reducers like GABA and valerian root, etc. to reduce the stress. And if there's illness, we got to make sure we're dealing with that illness. Make sure it's gone, and whatever damage that it's done, that we target and nutrients to the previous illnesses, and if there's injury, got to make sure that we deal with that injury and comfort them and help that injury heal as quickly as possible. So if there's surgery, same thing. It's a trauma to the body. We got to make sure that we deal with that trauma and make sure that they're getting over that surgery, and with all this wonderful nutrition and comfort, and we deal with these cuts, and if it's poison ivy, we deal with that, and viral and bacterial infections. Well, we know about that colloidal silver water and echinacea, golden seal, and poke root, and cayenne, and herbal and herbs that are going to deal with any kind of an infection. And if it's sunburn, we can spray colloidal silver water on it. Spraying colloidal silver water on a burn, say goodbye to the pain, watch the skin heal up. Another good remedy for psoriasis is spraying on that colloidal silver water. You can mix in a little, different things like essential oils in the colloidal, and use salves. There's a psoriasis salve that we can use topically to be very soothing and help that 8-day cycle where the skin is, instead of drying up and so forth. We can use a psoriasis herbal formula. Let's go over on betterhealthherbs.com. Let's look at a psoriasis herbal formula. And now I'm going to look it up. Going into my catalog here, back page. I can do this. LMOP. It is number, it's right under the clip. There we go. Number 6635. So I go over here on betterhealthherbs.com. I type in 6635, enter. And now I am going to pull this over just a shade. Come on, you can do it. I want you to be as big as you can. All right, so I'm looking at this salve, and the name of this salve is psoriasis salve. Let's see what's in it. Okay, it's $10 for 2 ounces, and a 2-ounce salve has cayenne oil. That means it's going to dilate, and it's going to be warm, and it's going to open up all the tissues, and it's going to let in the evening primrose oil, the emu oil, the aloe vera gel, tea tree oil, lecithin granules, and apple cider vinegar, and olive oil, and vitamin E, and beeswax, and that's all, nothing else. That's all that's in there. And all these oils combined in the correct combination are soothing, emollient, lubricating, that scaly, patchy skin of psoriasis. And that's number 6635 psoriasis salve, and that's what's used topically. Now let's go take a look at the rest of the story here. Internally, okay, and people with HIV or AIDS often have severe psoriasis. So now we're looking at things that will address AIDS and HIV and the psoriasis skin reaction that they get as well. So these things, we might be talking sometimes about one problem like psoriasis, and we start reaching into another problem like HIV, because here's a salve and here's a system that's going to address both. And the herbs burdock root and red clover, they cleanse the blood with both HIV and with psoriasis. And there's a cleansing program with bentonite clay, and that's my favorite. And that's what when I do a cleanse, that's what I use is this particular program. And it's with the bentonite clay, and there's links to it. So if I'm looking at this and it says cleansing program with bentonite clay, and if I clicked on it, I'd be looking at it, and so I did, and so there it is. Now I'm looking at the cleansing program, and it's $52, and there it is. Now that's how you cleanse and detox the body. And it's got all these things in it already. It's got the Coscara sagrada bark, buckthorn bark, dandelion root, licorice root, burdock root, and red clover blossoms that we said that we needed. There it is. It's in here. And pau d'arco bark, it's in here. Astragalus for the immune system, it's in here. Stevia, milk thistle for the liver, French tree bark for the liver. This is targeted to the liver. And golden seal root and ginger root and fennel seed for digestion and no gas, getting rid of flatulence. Yellow dock for the blood. Poke root for the lymphatic system. Orange oil for taste. And structured water, that means it's alkaline water. That is a cleansing kit. And that's the liquid. That's just a liquid, because then you get the fiber, and the fiber has that's the sponge that's like a magnet that pulls up all the toxins. So you clean the blood, and then you suck it all up into a magnet sponge that's pulling all these toxins to it, and that's the psyllium husks with bentonite clay. You've got the chlorella, which is detoxing heavy metals out of the body. You've got spirulina, nutrition. Chlorella is heavy nutrition too. And barley grass and wheat grass. It's a work of art. And it's got acidophilus, marshmallow root for the kidneys, echinacea for the immune system, wild yam, again against gas, and balancing the hormones.
Got it.
Are you with me? Are you with me, Doc?
Yes, I'm with you.
So that's it. It's slippery elm bark and green kamut. That's a system of working with psoriasis. And now I'm back there looking at that psoriasis page again, and it's talking about this cleansing program and using herbs like chaparral and dandelion and yellow dock, which most of them are in that cleansing program except the chaparral, and it's talking about again getting lots of ginger in your diet when there's psoriasis, and a golden seal, here's another salve besides that's really nice for the skin as a daily salve or cream. I use it every day. Emu MSM cream to keep the skin young and beautiful like mine. I'm kidding with you now. That's a joke. Okay, so then there's vitamin E. Doc, and sarsaparilla and yellow dock and milk thistle seed extract. All of these things targeted to the liver, targeted to the blood, targeted to the skin, and then if you're taking lots of vitamin E or lots of vitamin A, at least 10,000, and maybe for a short period of time, you bring the dose up maybe to 100,000 on the vitamin A for maybe a couple of weeks, and for the skin. But there's that psoriasis salve. It's listed right here in this report. The colloidal silver water generator. You can spray on your skin. You can detox with it. There's a pain formula. If it's painful, if you got painful psoriasis, here is a herbal pain formula. There's a blood builder if you really need to work more on that blood, and that's a good idea. There's a detoxifier herbal formulation, herbal tincture extract. It's a reminding us to take lots of ginger root. Then here's an acne and skin disorders herbal tincture extract. So that gives you a lot of help. And I know, Doc, that you have also probably used your Essiac, because that's another thing that's listed here, and that's another thing that we can use to clean the blood when there's psoriasis is the Essiac, the special. I have my own, which is Truman's Essiac, which I was privileged to receive the original formulations when I schooled in Canada back in the early years. And I know that you use Essiac as a blood cleanser, cancer, anti-cancer, herbal tumor type, anti-tumor type blood cleansing formula. Essiac is a good one, isn't it, Doc?
Oh, it is. It's excellent.
So yeah, so those are the things and cat's claw and olive leaf extract, turmeric, again that cac liquid, or if there's constipation, I would use, instead of the cac liquid, I would use the CACT, because then you can take as many cups of it as you need and get rid of constipation. That's right.
Yep.
No more constipation with CACT, right, Doc?
That's right. That's good stuff.
Yep. And, essential oil of tea tree oil can be helpful from time to time, yet it's very drying to the skin. So we want to be cautious with that tea tree oil. Wonderful, though, against any kind of an infection. Worst case scenario, plantain poultices. Acetyl L-carnitine for the heart is a good one here when there's psoriasis. Looking at L-glutamine that stimulates the brain's metabolism and maintains muscle, and also is a amino acid. It's a main source of fuel for brain's metabolism. So glutamine can be helpful here, as well as acidophilus, bentonite clay, flaxseed oil. We already talked about vitamin A, zinc. Make sure we're getting a lot of zinc and calcium and magnesium, lots of vitamin C, lots of B complex. MSM powder. That's going to rejuvenate every cell in your body. Would be a good thing to add at a dose of 1 tablespoon 3 times a day, and see what that does for skin, hair, and fingernails. That's right, MSM powder. You get it by the pound, and you take a tablespoon 3 times a day, and it will change your skin, your hair, and your fingernails, making them much better. So that and CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid, wow, that is quite this report goes on and gets into it, because it deals with liver and kidneys, and if there's diabetes, and it deals with a whole diabetes report, because all of these can be a part of it. If there's a memory loss or chronic fatigue syndrome, there's a whole group of information specifically targeted to that situation. If there is HIV, AIDS, or cancer, then we're going to go to the breast and all cancer report. But there's a link within the psoriasis report on all of the things that I just mentioned. These are separate links to liver and kidney issues, diabetes, memory loss, chronic fatigue syndrome, HIV, AIDS, cancer, heart, blood, neuropathy, Lyme disease, cataracts, glaucoma, all in separate reports in the psoriasis report, because psoriasis is a difficult and complex disease. But when you do all of those things and make lifestyle changes, you can expect psoriasis to disappear. And that's my 2 cents, Doc.
There you go. That's a good point. I'm telling you, you covered all the bases. I'm proud of you.
I turned over every rock in that rocky field.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Now people have a lot more information about it, and so do I. You hit on a couple things that I had forgotten, And when you deal with so many things, all the time, you start forgetting a few things. So
Absolutely, and that's why it's fun to do this, because you know yourself. When you teach something, you learn a lot.
right.
Well, that's wonderful. That we should open the lines. What do you think? Did we cover just about everything? What about hernias? What do you do? Let's talk a little bit about hernia, okay?
Okay.
What do you do, Doc?
Well, it depends on how drastic it is. If it's a real drastic thing, because the stomach lining opens up and the blood coagulates there in one spot, and it's a hernia. So if it's real bad, people would probably have to have surgery to, stitch it back together. But if it's not too bad, they can wear one of those belts, one of those heavy, like a weightlifting belt or something like that, and that will keep it suppressed during the daytime only, and then at night where you're resting, it can start healing. You know what I'm saying? Because you stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, but if you keep it tight during the daytime, it'll come back together, and then at night it can start healing as long as you take the proper nutrition to heal the body. Everything happens in your blood chemistry, because your blood is your lifeline, period. And if you have problems with blood vessels bursting and this and that, that's when you need a good circulation formula like you have, and a number of different things and keep the blood vessels to where they can expand and contract and not burst. That's a big thing, right?
Okay, I had muted my mic because all of a sudden we got an echo coming off of your mic. I don't know why, but you're right. You're right. And so let's look at what home remedies may be available, because a hernia occurs when part of an internal body organ protrudes through weak muscles. And
Right,
usually the intestine or fatty tissue in the abdomen bulges out through the abdominal wall that surrounds the muscles. And hernias often lead to no symptoms in some cases, where they can be mild to severe pain. Uh, there is
right,
there's a risk of hernias becoming strangulated and restrict blood supply, because the area through which they protrude may exert pressure on the blood vessels and constrict them. Once the
right,
blood once the blood supply is cut off, the immediate medical care is required, as the tissue needs oxygen to survive. There are different types of hernia, such as inguinal hernias, femoral hernias, umbilical hernias, and incisional hernias. And now, so the symptoms of a hernia are classified according to the part of the body in which they occur. Some hernias are more common than others, and in most cases, hernias lead to bulging and pain in the affected area. And there may also be certain symptoms of which are specific to the location of the hernia. The common symptoms of hernia include, if it's an inguinal hernia, these hernias occur as a bulge in the groin area. They may develop on either side of the pubic bone and are more common in men. The protrusion increases when you change positions. Cough, or if you cough or phlegm, any physical act, or if you cough or perform any physical activity, that's when you get all that pain. And straining while urinating or during bowel movements can also lead to more pronounced bulge in the affected area. These hernias often lead to a heavy sensation, which is more prominent than lifting something or while bending. The inguinal hernias can lead to swelling and pain in the testicles in men because of the bulging portion of the intestine may descend into the scrotum. Now, there's a femoral hernia. These hernias occur when a portion of the intestine bulge out through a weak area in the abdominal wall near the thigh. The bulge, this femoral hernia bulge, may be detected in the upper region of the thigh under the groin. The femoral artery and vein pass through that region, and physical activities which exert strain on the groin or the thigh area can lead to pain. Okay, we finally get to umbilical hernia. The umbilical hernia, well, these hernias seem to, as they're seen as protruded areas near the navel. They are common in babies. Umbilical hernias occur when the abdominal muscles fail to close properly around the belly button while the baby is inside the womb. This causes the intestine to bulge through the weak area. These umbilical hernias, they may also occur due to certain rare diseases, and they usually do not cause any pain, but the protrusion may become more pronounced during movement. Babies with umbilical hernias may not manifest any symptoms in the early years of life, but may do so later on. And then finally, the last one, incisional hernias. These hernias develop after abdominal surgery. They occur in a scar and are seen as a permanent bulge. Medical conditions that exert pressure on the abdominal wall and strenuous physical activities may also lead to an incisional hernia. So the causes of hernias, well, the cause may be present at birth, while others may occur later in years. The causes of hernia are varied and range from irregularities during fetal development and openings in the abdominal cavity and weakness of the abdominal wall. Hernias can occur due to any condition that leads to increased strain on the abdominal cavity. Some of the conditions include lifting heavy objects, obesity, persistent coughing, strain, urinating, and during bowel movements, chronic lung disease, accumulation of fluid in the abdominal cavity, family history of hernias. Yes, all of these could play a part in it. And remedies for hernias, let's get to that. A remedy, well, hernia treatment usually involves surgery, especially if they are large and painful. And surgery helps to make the weak abdominal wall more secure and closes up existing holes with cloth patches. For umbilical hernias, doctors usually recommend waiting until the child is 5 years old. In some cases, when the bulging sac becomes strangulated and blood supply is cut off, well, emergency surgery is required. If immediate medical attention is not received, the bulging area may lose blood supply and completely and die. So it is advisable to consult a doctor if you notice any symptoms of a hernia. Natural remedies may offer some relief from the symptoms of hernia, but they will under no circumstances suffice as an alternative to conventional medical treatment when it's required. Also, keep in mind that most home remedies are not subjected to rigorous testing, and the results can vary greatly, with some even posing a health risk. And always consult with your doctor before trying any home treatment. Now, the herb licorice. The herb licorice. It's long been used as a healing remedy for various ailments such as respiratory trouble and a sore throat remedy. Now, licorice root may also encourage healing of damaged areas in the stomach lining and esophagus caused by hernia. This will help to alleviate burning and pain in the chest and throat. It's important to consult your doctor before using licorice or any other herbs for hernia treatment. So if you want to consult a doctor, the best one to consult would be Doc Miles in Austin, Texas, and his telephone number, because he's a naturopathic doctor. And he would be a great one if you needed a consultation from a doctor. Go to Doc Miles. His telephone number is 512-868-9867. So that's what you would do. 512-868-9867. Now, we're talking about we talk about licorice root. That's valuable. You can combine it maybe with some ginger root. It's known to help protecting the esophagus and the stomach from damage due to buildup of gastric acids and bile. But keep in mind that in some cases, ginger root may lead to an upset stomach. So you're careful with anything you use. You start with a little bit, you increase it, you find out whether you like it and your body likes it, and then you can use a little more or a little less. That's how you use herbs and any foods. You don't just jump in and take too much. Too much is not better. Okay, we always start with a little, increase it slowly. We're talking about licorice root. Ginger is wonderful. Hernias in the abdominal region may lead to acid reflux. There is a gas acid reflux herbal formula. Let's go take a look at a gas acid reflux herbal formula. Back over here, looking at the herbal health, better health. I'm over here on Better Health Herbs, and I am clicking on their store, and I'm going to look for a gas acid reflux herbal formula. And I'm going to look right there, and it's number 1198. So I'm over here on their page, and here is a gas acid reflux number 11. Hello. Okay. 1198. Okay, I'm over there. I type. That's the easiest way to find things in their store is type in the number. 1198, I'm looking at this formula. This is a gas acid reflux herbal formula. And it's $11.88 an ounce, but all you need is a few drops. Start with 6 drops, move it up to maybe as much as 30 drops, 3 times a day or more, whatever it takes. It's the peppermint leaf that is cooling and to the stomach and the digestion, and catnip leaf that relaxes the stomach, fennel leaf that gets rid of gas, lobelia that is very relaxing, cayenne that dilates and opens up tissue and is very healing and letting all the other herbs in, and it's very nice. Very, very nice for gas acid stomach. You shouldn't. Here's a warning, special precaution and warnings, should not be used in large doses, as it can irritate the gastrointestinal tract. Not exactly. Folks, you would not drink the whole bottle. Again, we're talking about 6 drops to 30 drops. This is a concentrate. So it's telling you, it's warning you not to drink the whole bottle. That's for people who don't read the label and think more is better. And that happens, some people just don't read the label. They just think more is better. And don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Anyway, use small amounts and with other herbs during pregnancy. You don't use very much during pregnancy. If you have gas acid stomach, you can use a tiny amount. I'd stay with the 6 drops. And then the large doses will cause vomiting. If you were to drink half the bottle or the whole bottle, it may lead to vomiting. And keep out of the reach of children, so that they don't misuse it by accident. And that's it. That's just, see, and then there's a disclaimer. We're not diagnosing or prescribing and so forth. And the FDA doesn't care anyway. They accuse you of doing it whether you did it or not. That I've been there. That's what they do. That's it. That's a gas acid stomach formula. But that's how things work here. And when you're using all these kinds of herbs and for, where are we at over here? Hernia. Okay. And we're right there on the home remedy. So those are, and then marshmallow root. It's talking about marshmallow root as another remedy for the stomach, because marshmallow root it improves digestion and decreased digestive acids in the stomach, which is the reason why we have an acid alkaline food chart on the herbalhealthreview.com website. And we need to, you need to go there and look at that and follow it and lean into the alkaline foods more than the acid foods. And you're going to do a lot better with digestion. and of course there's hawthorn, which is a supplement that strengthens the muscles. And hawthorn bark and leaf support the internal organs, and it may be helpful to stop a hernia from developing and prevent its reoccurrence. So hawthorn consists of hawthorn bark. When you're using herbs like the fennel we talked about, and the hawthorn we already talked about, hawthorn berries and hawthorn leaf, and you add a little bit of citrus to break it down and digest it, or if you're using Doc Miles's HCl tablets to increase the lactic, to increase the natural acids that you need, well, then you're helping the digestion, and digestive enzymes are going to be helpful. If there's inflammation and even any bleeding, shepherd's purse is going to help the pain and the swelling, and relieve the bleeding and the inflammation, and so there are a lot of things that can be done here. But we want to engage in gentle exercises. And I got an incoming call. That's just a reminder to me that my telephone bill is due. I know that. And stress can aggravate stomach ailments and acid reflux. So we want to decrease the stress. We made that's why we're taking lots of B complex to get rid of that stress. We're taking that Intramax multiple vitamin. That way we're getting the best B complex that we can get and all the other nutrients at the same time. So these are very important. We need to, and maybe some GABA. or some pregnenolone, whatever it takes, and valerian root, and things like this to reduce the stress. Ice compresses are one of the best home remedies for hernia. It may help to alleviate the pain and the swelling caused by the hernia. So some ice compresses could be very valuable. Applying any heat or pressure to the affected area, you want to avoid that. Avoid applying any heat or pressure, but that ice compress is probably going to give you a lot of help. Avoid exercising on a full stomach when there's a hernia. Avoid tight clothes, as they can exert pressure on the abdomen. And it's advisable to wear only loose and comfortable clothing. And keep the head of your bed elevated by about 6 inches, as it will prevent gastric acids from traveling back into the esophagus during sleep. A lot of people use bricks underneath their bed to elevate their bed, and they avoid using pillows, as they may increase stress on the abdomen when there's a hernia and there's acid reflux. So there's another trick for you there. Elevate the bed at the head about 6 inches. And avoid eating large meals and opt for smaller meals when there's hernias and gas acid reflux. And refrain from lying down or bending soon after eating. You don't eat and then go lie down. It's going to be too hard on you. And avoid consuming alcohol. These are all kinds of things, that in order to prevent occurrences with hernias, the diet for hernia should be high in protein and low in fat. A low intake of protein and excess consumption of fat can cause the abdominal walls to become weak, thus increasing the risk of hernia. Therefore, is it advisable to include in your diet foods that are rich in protein, like the going on, that make lifestyle changes diet is the perfect diet. And making sure you're just getting all those nutrients in there, and you'll get plenty of protein. And also opt out, for get the dairy products out of the diet. Just basically and generally. Okay? Basically and generally. If you do good with a little bit of dairy, we'll make it a very little bit of dairy and enjoy it. And and make sure it's got no RBS, is it? Is that right?
RBS.
Yeah.
RBS.
Yeah, we don't want any of that nasty hormones in your milk. So that's why we want to avoid dairy products. It's not a natural thing. And if you do, no RBS. Okay. Now, in your dairy. Now, suggestions for hernia. We're almost done. Almost done, folks. But I had 2 people today ask me about hernias. And so I think we really got into it. But here are the final tips. The final tips are: maintain a healthy body weight by following a low-calorie, nutritious diet like the Make Lifestyle Changes diet. Also practice regular, modest exercise, especially if you're overweight. We're going to take it easy, but we're not just going to lay around. We're going to go for a little walk. Maybe we'll even take our shoes off, put our feet in the grass, ground ourselves out there, and praise the Most High. And include plenty of fresh vegetables and fruits and whole grains. It's not so much in your diet, and that's all in the Make Lifestyle Changes diet. That's it. So you go to herbalhealthreview.com and you click on Make Life Common Conditions and go to Make Lifestyle Changes. That is the diet. So You know, a lot of people, they don't know about that diet, but when they find it, it just solves a lot of problems with diet alone. I can't say it again. All right, now, I can't say it enough. Exercise caution when lifting any heavy object, and maybe you need, and wear one of those belts. You know, the people that have to lift a lot weights and so forth. You know, they wear these belts. It might be a good idea to wear one. If you are or forced to do the little more bending than you should, more lifting than you should, let's always bend from the knees. Get those knees in, you know, in a bending position. Instead of trying to bend from the waist when lifting objects, let's bend from the knees on up. And persistent coughing can aggravate symptoms of hernia, and so there are lots of cough and cold and flu, chest, respiratory formulations there on the herbalhealthreview.com. Look under colds and flus. Look under respiratory. And you'll get all these remedies that will get rid of those coughs, and so we can do that. And smoking, come on, no smoking, because the smoking can lead to constant coughing, which can exert strain on the abdominal muscles. So if you've got a hernia and you're smoking, not good. It's an obstacle. Try to avoid it. Okay, smoking. That's it. Now because I've said it 1,000 times. I just have to go. Now that's the psoriasis report. I'm going out of the psoriasis report, and I'm going back to herbalhealthreview.com. I'm clicking on common conditions, and I'm going down to make lifestyle changes. And because I've said it 1,000 times, and you might as well see it. There it is. The famous Make Lifestyle Changes report tells you exactly what to eat in the morning to be Superman or Superwoman. Then the next thing is that delicious power drink. The next thing is all kinds of meal plans and recipes and all the wonderful things you can eat. And it just gives you, it's so complete and so delicious. You'll say, why didn't I try this before? I thought it would taste bad. It absolutely is the most delicious diet in the world. So there it is. Make lifestyle changes with all this information, how to heal your gut, how to cleanse and detoxify, eye support, colds, flu. It's all that information is right there on Make Lifestyle Changes on the herbalhealthreview.com website. Doc Miles, did we cover hernias or what?
I guess you did. You went all the way to the basement on that.
I wanted to make sure. I had 2 people before the broadcast call me and ask me about hernias. So we hadn't covered it before, so we did today.